Hi, it's Leslie Fightmaster, and welcome to day 15. We're going to start today sitting, and I am sitting on the edge of a vest that I wore down to the water, and it just helps to lengthen my spine a little bit. So if you have a blanket or a towel, a pillow, it'll help to give you a little length. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart and take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. And all intentions are always welcome, and then let's start to focus in on our breath. So take a nice long inhale, and then we'll come forward as you exhale onto the hands and knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Keep the belly lifted. Draw the shoulder blades toward the waist, and then inhale, bring the chest forward, lift your chin and tailbone up, and then exhale, round the back, draw the chin toward the chest, pull the belly in. Inhale again, bring the chest through, widening the collarbones, and then exhale, draw the belly in, press firmly away from the floor. Fingers are spread. Inhale again, bringing the chest forward, tailbone up. Exhale, draw the belly in and up. And again, inhale forward. Shoulder blades are drawing toward the waist, and then exhale, pressing away, rounding the upper back like a cat. Then we'll come to neutral. On the inhale, right arm out to the right, sweep it underneath your left arm. Then take your left hand and pop up on your fingertips, rolling the chest open. Then pull the left hip back and draw the left hand either to the lower back, or you may wrap it around and hook it onto the right thigh. Every inhale, see if you can get a little length through the spine. As you exhale, start to roll your top shoulder back. So again, you're going to widen across the collarbones. Inhale, come back through center, back to hands and knees, and we'll do the other side. Left arm out to the left as you inhale. Exhale, sweep it underneath you, under the right arm. Pop up onto the right fingertips, draw the right hip back, and start to make your twist. So the twist happens from above the waist. Then the right hand will either go to the lower back, or you might be able to hook it onto your left thigh. And every inhale, see if you can get some length. And when you exhale, roll the top shoulder back. And breathing here. Just being mindful of your breath. I'll try to remind you, and then as you keep your breath steady in and out through the nose throughout your practice, the best you can. Come back to table, then walk your hands forward about a handprint. And then from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips, exhale, stretch all the way back into down dog, keeping the knees bent. And then straighten out through the right leg, left knee stays bent, and switch. So there's bicycling the legs here. Arms are shoulders distance apart with your feet hips distance. And keeping the nice steady breath, arms and ears are in line. And gaze between the feet or knees. Keep the low belly drawing in and up. Fingers are spread wide, pressing into the base of the fingers as your forearms lift up and away from the mat. Inhale will come forward into plank pose, the top of a push-up. Knees to the floor, shift forward about an inch and slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Come onto the tops of the feet, inhale, cobra. Press all your toenails into the floor. Draw the hands toward the feet, tailbone reaches toward heels, inner thighs spin up. Exhale to the knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips back into down dog. So we did a little work on chaturanga yesterday and the day before. Look forward, step the feet to the hands. Take an inhale, come halfway up, lengthening the spine. And then exhale, fold. Bend the knees as you need to. Press through the feet, rise up, inhale, stretching tall. And then exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. So chaturanga, top of a push-up is plank. As we lower, it's chaturanga. It's not so easy. And just to say, to let you know in case you're struggling, hands at heart center in Tadasana, press evenly through the feet. Inhale, sweep your arms out, around, and up. Palms face each other at the top. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Hips will go back as you take your forward fold, then hips over heels if your legs are straight. Inhale, halfway up, you're lengthening through the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, plant your palms, and come back into plank pose. And we'll take the knees down or not, is up to you, but lower till your shoulders in line with the elbows and then come all the way down. Inhale to cobra or up dog. If you're an upward facing dog, thighs and knees are off the floor. Exhale, tuck your toes and come into downward facing dog. So from here on in, you have the choice of keeping your knees down in chaturanga. You have the choice of practicing cobra pose or upward facing dog. You also have the choice of taking your knees down and resting and pushing pause at any time you wish. Look forward, keep your hips high as you step the feet up. Take an inhale, lengthen the spine, hands to shins or higher. Exhale, fold forward, hips over heels with straight legs if you can. Inhale, sweep the arms up with a long spine, stretching tall. And then exhale, hands to the heart in Samastitihi, steady balance. And inhale again, sweeping the arms up. Triceps spin forward, upper arm spin forward. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from your hips. Keep the spine really long. Inhale, come halfway up, heart forward. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms, and again to plank pose. Knees up or down, your choice. Shift forward, chaturanga, shoulders and elbows in line. Shoulders no lower than elbows. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, tuck the toes, come back into downward facing dog. Check in with your breath here. Keep your inhales and your exhales equal in length. So every movement here has a breath. And then when you're in down dog, you'll just reconnect. Inhale, right leg lifts from the inner thigh. As you exhale, step it forward. If it doesn't make it, pick it up and put it between the hands. Spin your back heel flat. Inhale, warrior two. So remember, warrior two, the front heel's in line with the back arch. The knee is over the ankle and it points in line with the middle toes. Shoulders are right above the hips and then arms are shoulders distance apart. Your gaze is over the fingertips. Press your back thigh straight back. Then lean forward, take the right forearm to the right thigh and reach your left arm up and over. See if you can gently press the forearm on the thigh, bringing the bottom ribs forward, spinning back with the top ribs. Keep pressing through the outer edge of your back foot. Press the front heel to come up, inhale, and then exhale, windmill the arms down. You can go right to downward dog and stay there, or inhaling to plank. Exhale, chaturanga, knees up or down. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra pose. And exhale, tuck the toes back into downward dog. That we call a vinyasa, and you can skip them if you'd like. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it forward between the hands, spinning back heel flat. Inhale, warrior two. So again, your front heel will line up with your back arch. Your left knee over the ankle, pointed straight ahead over the middle toes. So that knee will move a little toward the pinky toe side of your left foot. Try to keep the back arm as high as your front arm as you lift the chest and let your shoulder blades relax toward the waist a little bit. Broadening across the collarbones, lean forward. Take left forearm to left thigh, reach your right arm up and over in line with the ear. And then keeping that length from the left hip crease to the left armpit, keep sinking your hips forward and pressing into the front heel. Stretching out, almost as if you could turn your belly button up to face the ceiling. Take an inhale to warrior two. As you exhale, cartwheel your arms down, go to downward dog and stay, or you could inhale to plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga, knees up or down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. So remember, arms, shoulders distance, and feet hips width apart. Stretching back. Look forward, hips high, step or hop the feet up. Take an inhale, look up, lengthen. As you exhale, fold forward, bending the knees as needed. And then press through the feet, rise up on the inhale, stretching nice and tall, tailbone lengthens, belly lifts, and exhale to Samastitihi. That is called Surya Namaskara A, but we added a warrior 2 in there. Now I have my 2 blocks. I'm going to bring them by the front of the mat. If you don't have blocks, you can rest your hands on your shins instead, but I do recommend blocks. I think they're really, really wonderful to use. Feet are just about hips distance apart, hands on hips. Find the hip bones in front. We want to keep those faced straight ahead. Now, keep the right foot where it is, step the left foot back. Instead of letting the outer foot be parallel with the back of the mat, we're going to turn the left toes to face the front left corner of the mat, so hips and shoulders will square up toward the front of your mat. And that's important. Front heel's in line with the back heel, or you can go wider. Then inhale, open up the chest and lengthen. Exhale, hinge from your hips, come forward, hands on blocks. If you can reach the floor, that's fine too, or you can rest your hands on your leg. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, stay where you are, or perhaps you'll fold in deeper, but instead of letting your back round, keep that nice length that you created before you came forward. Draw the right hip back gently, and send the left hip forward. The left inner thigh, the back thigh, is going to spin toward the back of the mat. Imagine you have another block that you're squeezing gently between your inner thighs. Breathing here, always checking in with the breath. Inhale, head up. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale with a long spine, come all the way to center. Now take your arms to a T. We'll bend the elbows, either press your fists together or your palms. Same pose, we're just doing something different with the arms. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, pause halfway down. So what we don't want are the shoulder heads to drop. We want to keep the shoulder heads lifted. And then if you want to go further, you may, or stay halfway down. That right hip might want to come forward, so pull it back a little and just gaze toward your shin or foot. Press through the outer edge of your back foot as well. Keep the shoulder heads lifted and breathe. Press into the base of the big toe of the right foot as you continue to draw the right hip back. On your inhale, make your way back up, and we'll release the hands and step the feet together. So again, our feet will be about hips distance apart, blocks on either side of the feet. Find your hip bones, those little bones that pop out the front. We want those to face the front of the mat and stay facing even as you draw your right hip back about 3 feet. So the right hip will come forward. Make sure it's not parallel with the outside of the mat, but instead the right toes will face the right front corner of your mat. Then inhale, get some length through your spine. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips and pause, hands on blocks, lengthening the spine. And again, if you don't have blocks, hands on your leg. Lengthen, lengthen on your inhale. So kind of like when we did in cat pose or cat and cow pose. Instead of rounding the back like a cat though, we're going to bring the chest forward through the arms like we did in the cow pose. Then if you can go deeper, you can start to fold forward, but make sure the left hip continues to pull back. Also, you can imagine that you've got another block that you're holding between the inner thighs. That'll make sure the legs stay nice and firm. And be sure to press through the outer edge of your back foot, spinning the inner back thigh toward the back of your mat to keep that leg active. Crown of the head reaches down. And again, if you've got the flexibility, you can have your hands on the floor instead. It's totally fine. But if you've got blocks, it's hard to reach the floor. Blocks are wonderful. I love my blocks. Even if you've got flexibility, you can even turn your fingertips to face the back of the mat and go a little deeper. But no rush. All is coming. We just keep practicing. Flexibility comes in time. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, hands to hips. And inhale to come up. And then arms to a T on your inhale. As you exhale, bend your elbows. Either take your fists and press them together or your palms. Palms are a little harder. Roll shoulder heads back as you inhale. Get some length. Hinge from the hips as you exhale. Pause halfway down. Instead of letting your back round and your shoulders drop, lift those shoulders up. Keep the length in the spine. Then continue to pull the left hip back and send the right hip gently forward. So I mentioned flexibility comes in time, but it's not that big of a deal, actually. It's better, I think, to have stability and strength in the body, and then flexibility can come as you practice. But the more strength you have, the more stability you have, the better your poses can be to not cause you to get an injury. So look, that can be a good thing, being tight. Inhale, come up with a long spine, and now step your feet together. I'm going to move those blocks out of the way if you have them. And again, we'll find Tadasana at the front of the mat, feet together or hips distance apart. Inhale, sweep your arms up, palms face each other. Exhale, hinging from your hips, fold forward, bending the knees if you need to. Inhale, halfway up, get really long through the spine. Exhale, step back and find plank pose. Chaturanga, knees up or down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Then tuck your toes and stretch all the way back again into down dog. Looking forward, we're going to step or hop and sit right down. And then all the way onto your back, walk your heels so that they're underneath the knees. The feet are hips width apart. Make sure the outer edges of your feet are parallel. Your toes will point in just a little toward each other. And take the arms by your sides. Inhale, lift up. Lift your hips and your low back and your mid back. Maybe the upper back. If possible, roll your shoulders underneath you. Palms can stay flat or point the fingertips up to the ceiling. Keep your chin away from your chest. You may also want to clasp your hands if you wish. Try to bring this breath up toward the chest instead of breathing into the belly, which might compress your back. Come on down. Soles of feet together, knees apart, and rest. Take just a couple breaths here. And now feet again to hips width. Heels under knees, arms by your sides for bridge, Setu Bandha. Inhale again to lift up any amount. Spiral your thighs in toward each other. Roll the shoulders under, maybe interlace the fingers with the other pinky on the bottom. And keeping the chin away from the chest, find length in the whole front of the body. Make sure the outer edges of your feet stay parallel. And breathe, always checking in with the breath. Releasing down. And then hug the knees into the chest, Apanasana. Gently rock yourself from side to side or make little circles on your lower back. Now start to rock back and forth. This might be tricky. Take a couple rocks if it seems like you can come up to seated, do. Otherwise, roll to the right and press up. Coming into Dandasana. If your lower back or your back is rounded a little bit, so I've got my little jacket. I'm going to sit right on the edge of it to help lengthen the spine. You can do the same thing with a pillow or a blanket or a jacket. Pull the toes back, firm the leg muscles, but keep the heels on the floor. Dandasana is a wonderful pose to strengthen the spine. And the hip flexors. So just notice, widen the collarbones. Let the shoulder blades release away from the ears. And as you sit here for a moment, it might get a little challenging. Let's bend the right knee, put the right sole of the foot onto the floor, right hand behind the back. Inhale, left arm is up. And then exhale, wrap it around the right leg and twist. Or you could take your left elbow to the outside of the right leg. And then inhale, find some length. And exhale, roll the right shoulder back. Every inhale finds length. Every exhale, maybe twisting in deeper. Only going to your edge. Inhale, head to center. Exhale, unwind. Straighten out your right leg. And bend the left. Left hand behind the back. Right arm up on the inhale. And exhale, hug that left knee. Sit up tall as you inhale. Exhale, rolling the right shoulder back. Also, check in with your right leg. The right toes should point straight up to the ceiling. A lot of times we forget about that leg. Every inhale, create length. Every exhale, twist. Inhale, bring the head to center, and then exhale to unwind. Inhale, arms reach, both legs straight in front. Exhale, hinge from the hips, reaching for the feet, or if you've got a strap or a belt or a towel, you can hold on to that. But instead of letting your back round, we want to hinge from the hips so the belly is lengthening toward the thighs. And inhale, lengthen, so you can just keep the spine long. You don't have to come out forward at all. And then let's release it. Bend the knees and begin to roll onto your back for Savasana, our final resting pose. So I took that jacket and rolled it up, put it under the knees because that's nice for me. Let your feet flop open, arms by your sides with the palms faced up. And now just release any of your Ujjayi breathing and just come into natural breathing. Relax everything. I'll be back in just a moment. And as you're resting here, I've got our quote. I've gotten a lot of people that have left me comments saying that they're not a beginner, but they are enjoying this beginner's challenge. So this is for you and for anybody who is a beginner. So let's start to make some movements to stretch out. Become a beginner again. We lose something wonderful when it becomes more important to us to be the one who knows than to be the one who's open to the everyday wonders around us. So just a little reminder, let's roll to the right, come on up to seated. Sitting tall, bring the hands together, palms touching, hands to forehead, reminding us to have clear and loving thoughts. Hands to the heart center, reminding us to have clear and loving intentions. And hands to the mouth to remind us to have clear and loving communications. Send out some wonderful energy to all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thank you again for joining. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And leave us a comment. Let me know how it's going for you. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends. You could even do that on Facebook or Pinterest. If you want to look for me on Instagram, I'm Fightmaster Yoga. I love to keep in touch anyway. And if you can afford a donation, there's a link below, or go to fightmasteryoga.com and join our mailing list while you're there. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.